Hello, welcome to the video. I've had some requests to make a video like this. Hope you enjoy it. The aesthetic of my space tends to be more minimal, modern type of atmosphere, but the ideas behind it could really apply to any type of space. My approach to decorating is really simple. For this space, I just considered the function and took inspiration from that. It's my workroom, so I want it to feel really clean and easy to maneuver, but it's also a creative space, so I want it to feel spiritual and sacred. I'm a 3D artist. I'm really into computers and tech stuff. That's a big part of my job, and it's naturally a big part of the aesthetic of the room. Back when I was first thinking about this room like 5 years ago, I had a Tumblr, I still have it actually, where I collect images that I like, and this was around the same time I started getting into religious imagery, and eventually I came across Angelcore on Tumblr. Cleancore was also tangentially related to Angelcore, which is like a whole dissertation in itself. I was looking at those images and thinking, yeah, this really resonates with me. I want to translate this imagery to my space, which is a workspace. So it naturally led to me looking at clean rooms, labs, workshops. These images weren't really getting me closer to decorating my space though. At this point, I had my concept in mind, but I needed actual room design inspiration. I needed to know what I was physically going to put in the space to match my concept. And when I first started looking for inspiration, it was really hard to find anything in the style that I wanted. There just weren't a lot of images for that at the time. I ended up looking at a combination of rooms. One of them was gamer rooms / battle stations, good old r/battle stations. Another one was clean, modern interior style, which is a lot more conventional, but I was like, at least this has actual pieces of furniture in the image. And again, I was looking at workshop spaces, clean rooms, labs, stuff that was a little more far-fetched for a non-commercial space such as mine, but I really liked how it looked. Those are the images that were on my design board: gamer, modern, workshop, and my concept was like clean and functional, heavenly ethereal, and technology. That's how I arrived at this room that I have now. Let's talk about specific design elements. I read an article a long time ago that was called something like 6 Steps to Make a Modern Minimalist Living Room. I adapted it a little bit to my needs and made it into 5 steps instead. And these are in order of most impact to least impact on the room. Number 1 is a neutral base. In my case, this was making the walls and floor pure white, but I had also considered a cool gray. I could see warm beige working for this too, if that's your style. I went with white instead of gray because I thought it would be easier to make other stuff like furniture and decor pop out on a white background. White is also really good for my video work because there's so much light bouncing around. I found some old clips of this room from about 4 years ago before I changed it. This was my first attempt at vlogging that I thought I would never show to the world, but I think it's a good example of what I'm talking about. This is the exact same room, but my walls and floor are a dark color and they're warm toned. I definitely needed a cool neutral base for my desired look, and this wasn't neutral enough. These colors are also absorbing a lot of light, so yeah, I painted the walls. At the store they called it hospital white because it has no tint, and later I redid the floors to a matching white as well. I could argue that lighting is more important than the neutral base. It plays the biggest part in creating a certain atmosphere. In the old clips of my room, I didn't really have a strategy for lighting. I wasn't going for any focal points. The room was darker in general, but also I had a lot of small lights. Now I have a light strip on the back of my desk and lights on my monitors, so the desk area kind of acts as one big light and focal point for the room. I also used to light the space vertically much higher. Over here, I have a light way above me pointing up, and I have a light on top of this tall shelf too. But I've since learned I like my workspace to be lit at the same level I'm working, so now I light my space starting in the middle of the wall and down. I think this keeps the space feeling cozy even though it has a minimal and clean setup. I also changed all my lights to Philips Hue, adjustable color lights. I can keep all the color temperatures the same or just have any color I want. I have accent lights. This little guy has the whole transparent tech thing going on. And then this Govee floor lamp, which I use as my pop of color, also more of an accent light. Task lighting is also important to add functionally, also for the workshop vibe that I wanted. I think this lamp from Amazon works well for this style because of all the arm bends. It makes it look highly functional. I learned that to get a clean, futuristic vibe, it's best to have a few pieces of big furniture. Like have the main pieces be large, but also only have those pieces. In this case, I have a big desk and it's basically the only piece of furniture in this room. I also try to limit the amount of furniture I have in any room to 4 pieces. Right now, in here I have 2 desks, a chair, and this rolling cart for my PC, but really the big desk is the only focus. I also have this huge mirror, but I actually consider that decor, which is in a later section. Whatever the big piece of furniture is, I like it to be part of my neutral base. So here I have white desk, white walls. I think this adds to the ethereal and floaty atmosphere. Usually designers advise to keep spaces grounded, like with a different colored rug or something. I went the opposite direction because I wanted it to float. But a colorful piece in a neutral room can also be really cool, and high contrast pieces can feel really stark. So if you're going for clinical corporate, I think that would work. Special note about furniture legs. I make sure to have legs on all my furniture so that nothing sits directly on the ground. This makes the floor look a lot bigger because light can travel under the furniture. I even added some legs to this IKEA shelf. Even better is to put things on wheels. All of these things came on wheels, but you could also consider adding them. To me, nothing says workshop like stuff on wheels. I think storage is an overlooked area that could really add or take away from the aesthetic. There needs to be enough storage for the function of a space, but also the look of your storage choice is important. Here's an example of storage I've tried. I've always been into open storage. I like wall storage and vertical storage. I think it looks really cool, but I used to have it in different places around the room. I had it on the wall, in my closet, above my desk. Now I still have things on open shelves, but only in the closet, so it's all in one area. It looks less messy to me. Same with the pegboard. I love a good functional pegboard, but he's in the closet now. Because I don't have large storage furniture, I store stuff in boxes, which are another great opportunity to show my design style. These little workshop vibe crates, these are just from Daiso, and these frosted plastic boxes from Amazon. I think they work really well. Also worth mentioning is this rail on the outside of my closet. I use it when I need to look at clothes. It's like decor and functional open storage at the same time, but usually I can just keep it empty. Number 5 is decor, including art, textiles, plants. I'm not sure where to include shelves because whether they're storage or decor depends what's on the shelf, but shelves are something else to think about. I didn't include shelves in my design this time because they block light from traveling up the walls and bouncing off the ceiling. I just don't like the visual interruption on the wall. I like how my desk and PC really stand out as the only focal point in the room, and it gives the ethereal void feeling that I'm into right now. They say your room is a reflection of your mind, and I just want mine to be empty. Some people may say, wow, you really have no decorations in your room at all, and that's really weird and unsettling. And to that I would say, maybe. But what do you call these giant white curtains if not decor? I made the windowed wall of my room completely curtains, floor to ceiling, and this simple textile adds all the softness the room needs, in my opinion. I love how they're the same color as the walls but a different texture, and they let lots of light in. It's important that they're floor to ceiling because that makes the room look taller. It's a simple piece of decor, but it's a big statement at the same time. I also changed my blinds from Venetian slat blinds to sheer roller blinds that filter the sunlight nicely. This was a relatively cheap and easy switch, and it helped a lot visually. Honestly, I think window dressing in general is so overlooked. Even though I don't have a ton of stuff in here decor-wise, the things I do have, I'm just really deliberate about. Especially the small details which really stand out when a room is more empty. For example, my cables. The cable management here is very noticeable. I think even a few cables visible would mess with the floating feeling. But lately I've seen some people use cables as decor, and that's really cool too. Although this doesn't seem OSHA compliant. I think the rest of my decor could all be considered functional items, and that's kind of how I like it. I like to display clothing, like I mentioned, boxes, either storage boxes or well-designed boxes that I've collected. Books, of course, art books. The mirror is an important piece of decor in the room. It bounces a lot of light because it's next to the window. Lastly, tech as decor. I use my everyday tech as a design statement. Like my keyboard is a unique piece for me, but also maybe if you collect vintage tech, could be functioning, non-functioning, maybe a little collection. Neutral base, lighting, furniture, storage, and decor. Those are the 5 areas that I focused on in my space to get this look, futuristic, cyber, whatever you want to call it. And you might be saying, that's just a list of all the general elements of every single room in existence. And yes, you are correct. But this is the structure I used, and this shows how context is everything, the concept is everything, the building blocks will always be the same. This leads me to the last section of the video, which is where to get stuff. If people are interested, I will make a studio tour video that goes through every item in my room one by one, but I actually want to emphasize that the specific items don't matter. What matters is your design concept. Instead of focusing on the items, it's more important to think about what's inside me that I would like to see reflected in my environment. Not that you shouldn't collect and enjoy items, but it's just a different approach. With that being said, I do have some general tips on finding unique items that are true to your style. I think the most important thing is to not limit yourself in your references. Put stuff on your mood board that seems unattainable, but you like it anyway. For example, when I was making a workshop collage, there was stuff on there that I would never be able to use in my space personally as a non-commercial space. Like, do I want these plastic flaps in my room? Yes, obviously I do. Honestly, I could probably make this happen. But there are other things on the board, like the storage boxes. Those are actually easy to replicate. I have those cool ones I found at Daiso and Amazon. They definitely match the theme, they match my mood board. So you might find stuff in unexpected ways when you don't limit the images you have just because you think, oh, that would never work. Keep them on there. Keep that highway overpass, keep it on there. After the reference board process, but before I start shopping, I break down the different areas of my space and group the items I'm looking for. For example, if I'm looking for desk accessories, I know I need a keyboard, a mouse pad, and a mouse. I'll search for the items individually. I won't look for one store that has all those things. It's a lot easier to find cool stuff when you break it down like that, rather than saying, I need to find a general cool decor shop, because everything will most likely be from different places. And when I search for individual items, like my keyboard, I learn stuff like, oh, I could get artisan keycaps if I wanted, or a custom keyboard cable, and you can dig deeper into making things more uniquely you. One, because you're focusing on each item by itself, but also you're not limited to what the store has available. So back to my storage boxes, I'll Google gray storage box and look through the image results and maybe find some cool stuff that way. I found my mouse pad this way. It's actually from a disreputable Amazon storefront that is closed now. A lot of people ask me about it, but I can't recommend any specific place to get this. I found it so randomly based on my search terms. eBay is another great way to find interesting stuff. Everyone knows eBay, but just as a reminder, if you search for your favorite artist or favorite show or anime, you can find a lot of cool artwork and decor that way that you might not have known about otherwise. This ties back to my mouse pad, but eBay is how I started my Guilty Crown collection. I'm a fan of the artist Red Juice, so I was searching Red Juice on eBay, and I had forgotten about Guilty Crown, and ended up finding some really cool stuff. Same thing for collecting vintage tech. You can type brand name vintage, like vintage Sony or whatever, and just see what comes up. So there you have some of my searching and shopping strategies. But again, feel free to ask me if there's anything specific you want to know about, and I'll try to address it in a studio tour video. To the people who suggested this topic for a video, thank you. It was really fun to share my thoughts about interior decorating. If you have another video suggestion for me, the best way to tell me is to submit it anonymously on my website. After you sign up for my newsletter, you get a password to a secret page and you'll be able to write me from there. Submissions from my website are easier for me to keep track of because they get sent to my email and they also get put into an Excel spreadsheet automatically. Yes, they are anonymous, so I can't directly reply to these, but sign up for my newsletter, link in description. It's free, it's infrequent, and you also get free wallpapers that I designed. I always announce my new projects and stuff I'm working on in the newsletter. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this or found it interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments, how you like to decorate your room, or what your favorite decor style is currently. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.